is Math with Patti. Today's lesson is fractions, percents, and ratios. Does that give you anxiety, talking about fractions, percents, and ratios? I have good news. You're using it every day, and I'll show you. Imagine that that's a quarter. How much is a quarter worth? It's worth 25 cents, right? And if you have 4 quarters, you have how much money? $1. So now we have 4 quarters, which we know equals $1. Now think about this for a minute. $1. How many pennies are in a dollar? 100, you say. I don't know where percentage came from, but I would kind of like to think that it came from talking about $1. Percentage. So going back to 1 quarter, think about the word quarter. What does quarter really mean? It really means 1/4. That's the same as a quarter. So if you have one 25-cent piece, you have a quarter of a dollar. Or you have 25 pennies, or you have 25%. 25% of a dollar. Now, if you have 2 quarters, you have 2/4 of a dollar. But you don't write it as 2/4 because you can reduce it to 1/2. If you have 2 quarters, you have half of a dollar, or 50 cents, correct? Or 50%. Remember that word cent. You have 50% of a dollar. Now, if you have 3 quarters, you have 3/4 of a dollar, or 75 cents, right? 25, 50, 75 cents, or 75% of a dollar. Now, if you have 4 quarters, you know that you have 4 quarters out of 4 whole parts. You have 4 parts out of 4, or that's the same as writing 1, we know, in fractions, or $1, or 100%. Now take your calculator. Put in the number 1. When we use this little line here, also is the same as divide. 1 divided by 4. Let's see what you get. 1 divided by 4. What did you get? You got 0.25. Look at that. 0.25. Now, change that to a percent. Notice when you change it to a percent, you move the decimal over and you get 25%. Now try the next one. Put in 1 divided by 2 and you get 0.5, or 50 cents. Or, moving the decimal over, try the next one. 3 divided by 4 equals 0.75, or 75%. Now, with this in mind, you can figure out from a fraction what the percentage will be. So, for example, let's say you have 25 out of 60. You want to know what the percentage is. What are you going to do? You're going to do the same thing you did over here. 25 divided by 60. And you will get 0.41 repeating 6. Using our rounding skills, we're going to round the 6 to this place value, 0.42. What percentage? Moving your decimal over, you get 42%. We know that you usually don't want to know what percentage based on fractions. You want to know a percentage based on proportions and ratios. So let's imagine that you have 60 people in a room. 25 of them are women. What is the percentage of women in the room? You just figured it out, 42%. And then of course we know that percentage is based on 100 parts. So if we want to know how many men are in the room, all we need to do is subtract. 10 from 2 is 8, 9 from 4 is 5. 58% are men. Here I am with my classroom. Let's take a look at how many students are girls and how many students are boys. The total number of girls is 22. The total number of boys is 19. Let's take a look at this on the board. 19 boys in the classroom. 22 girls. How many total students are there? 41. Now, when we set up ratios, they can be set up many different ways. There are 19 boys in a classroom of 41 students. So what would that ratio look like? It can be written like this: 19:41, or it can be written 19:41, or it can be written as a fraction. The same way for the girls. There are 22 girls and 41 students. There are 22 girls and 41 students. You can also figure out different ratios. 19 are boys and 22 are girls. So we could write it like this: 19 are boys and 22 are girls. We're not looking for the entire classroom ratio. Or you could say 19:22. Now, there are 7 blondes in the classroom. 7 blondes. We don't know which ones are boys or which ones are girls, so we can just say 7 blondes out of 41 students, or 7/41. 6 are redheads. 6 out of 41. 6 have dark hair, or black. 6 out of 41. 3 have brown hair. 3 out of 41. And the rest of the students have a combination of either blue or green hair or gray hair. So now let's find out what percentage of the students have blonde hair in the classroom. Remember, 7 are blonde out of 41. So, using the same method that we used with the money, 7 divided by 41 will give us the percentage. 7 divided by 41 equals 0.17. Moving the decimal over 2 places, 17% have blonde hair. And then of course we can figure out the percentage of red hair, the percentage of brown hair, the same method. Check out my Math Anxiety Bill of Rights if math gives you anxiety.